Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. A very special day for me. We have on a group that has been near and dear to my heart for a long time, and that is AVID, Advancement Via Individual Determination. Joining us is Traci Grove. She's the Executive Director of AVID SoCal Regions 9 and 10. How you doing, Traci?
Great. Hi, Drew.
Well, good to see you here. We're going to talk a little bit about, we had you featured on the 22nd Annual Classroom of the Future Foundation's Innovation Awards at SeaWorld, and you were great. The AVID students were great as well, joined by your colleague, Jamie Yorba, Implementation Strategist. How you doing, Jamie?
Really great. Thank you so much for having us. I'm excited to be here.
We can't chat enough about what you folks do. And joining us as my co-host is Brandon Joe. Brandon is a producer of the Spotlight Show. He's soon to finish up his junior year at UCSD, but he's really done a great job with us at Cloudcast Media in 65 different reasons, and has been a very valuable volunteer for the Classroom of the Future Foundation, and you saw him on Thursday. So, Brandon, you've met these folks sort of on stage at SeaWorld. What do you know about AVID?
What do I know about AVID? I know that they help a lot of amazing students get into college, especially a lot of students that otherwise would have not been able to, whether this is due to funding, or this is due to information, or something that's never taught in their communities. But I don't really know about the how. So tell me a little bit more about what AVID does.
Yeah, absolutely. AVID is that program that people like to call it, but we like to refer to it as a system, the AVID College and Career Readiness System. And AVID, just so you know, Brandon, it stands for Advancement Via Individual Determination. And it was founded 45 years ago. We are celebrating our 45th anniversary at Claremont High School here in San Diego Unified by our founder, Mary Catherine Swanson. And at the time, she was truly closing what we call achievement gaps. In the 80s here in San Diego, they were busing kids in, and she saw the inequities. And she was all about equalizing that playing field for kids. And we are still doing that 45 years later, but we have expanded our mission to include career. So we are, and we have changed achievement to opportunity because we feel that's truly what we do. So we are closing the opportunity gap and providing students those tools to be college and career ready in a global society.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, Traci, and certainly want Jamie to add her 2 cents in it. People know that I've been affiliated with not only AVID many moons ago as a very proud board member, but also with the Classroom of the Future Foundation since it started in 97. And when I sort of recommended to the board, maybe about 7-8 years ago, that, listen, you need to shift a little bit, Classroom of the Future. It wasn't too far off mission to college and career. And you heard what Traci said, college, not or career, college and career. And Jamie, talk about that. We want students to have the opportunity to go to the college and not be on some other track that doesn't get that way, but college and career. If they don't choose to go to college, that's up to them. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was an AVID teacher for a long time here in San Diego County. Yes, almost 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
I was an AVID tutor as well when I was in college at UCSD. I just fell in love with it instantly. When I walked into my first AVID class, I saw students working together, collaborating. I saw them in a family atmosphere with a lot of support. And AVID's all about believing in kids and all kids, not just certain kids, and doing what we can to support all kids to become college and career ready. And it's about the essential skills. So, AVID focuses on writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading. And I would challenge anybody in any career field, even if you work in construction. My husband works in construction. I said, this is what AVID recommends as the 5 core skills. Do you use these every day? He said, I use them every day. And these are the things that we teach in AVID and we emphasize. So I hear about students all the time that graduate and say, I got into college because of AVID. Yes, but then they come back and they tell me how many skills they use from AVID to be successful when they're in college. And that speaks to our data too, our persistence data through college. Not only are students getting in, but they're staying there, because we know a lot of students will drop out after their first year because they don't have the skills that they need to be successful. So I think that it's unique and amazing in that way, because we're helping students to be career and college ready with those essential skills that they might not be getting in all their classes.
The impact and the beauty of AVID, which I've always loved, is the measurable impact. The numbers are just astonishing. And, it always made me a head scratcher when I was, certainly at city schools, and then went to the Union Tribune to run community and public relations, and, was honored to be on the board, is that AVID should be taught in every classroom, in every state, in every solar system. I don't care where you come from, because every one of those skills, as you're talking about, Jamie, is so important. And you hear this all the time from teachers. Oh, yeah, I know this kid definitely has got an AVID kid on it. Talk about, Traci, how just proud of you guys are on that legacy started in 1980.
Yeah. Even though we started AVID in 1980 with our visionary, Mary Catherine, as I alluded to before, it's evolved. So Jamie talked about wicker strategies, which I know you know a lot about,
I do.
Drew, with your experience. But let's take that Cornell note and let's talk about that. Let's unpack that a little bit. We have also evolved when it comes to Cornell notes. We now have what we talk about as focused note-taking. And there are 5 phases in focused note-taking. And the first phase is to take the notes. Second phase, processing the notes, getting kids to interact with each other by themselves, annotating their own notes. Phase 3, connecting their thinking. This is really important. Collaborating with their partners or their groups. I understood this, but maybe I have a question about this. That kind of thinking, inquiry. And then phase 4 is that reflection or summary, depending on the content. And phase 5 is the most important phase, apply. How are they going to apply those notes? Because what we don't want is teachers telling kids to take notes just to take notes and not do anything with them, because they become unimportant. So,
and very frequently it'll be told like, oh, this will be important for the future. This will be important for the future. And it's always kind of this pushing off of the importance of these things. Like, I want to know why I'm learning it now. So I like this. I like this a lot. It makes a lot of sense in the way that how many things, how many classes, how many courses you take throughout your life, how many meetings, etc. Being able to take good notes is vital, and honestly something that I wish I had a little bit more of in my high school.
Yeah, and I think also maybe you can address this, Jamie, and you jump on it too, Traci. And we see this all the time with AVID kids, a long time history of no one going to college in their families. The confidence level of these kids. And also, Jamie hit something that is in your DNA, Traci's, mine, Mary Catherine's, is that if you don't believe every kid can learn and every kid can be successful, you shouldn't be in the classroom teaching, for one, okay? But that's what AVID does. And talk about, Jamie, just the confidence level of these kids who go through the AVID program.
We hear it over and over again. I built confidence in AVID because we challenge them through rigorous academic preparedness, challenging them to get up and speak in front of their peers, and that vulnerability to share a question with their peers and say, I don't get this. Oh my gosh, teaching questions is a skill. Teaching kids how to ask questions. And that's what AVID does. I was just talking to someone else about this whose son is not an AVID, said he doesn't know how to ask for help. And it's like, that is truly a skill, the ability to ask for help, and it's practiced over and over again in AVID. So when they come to that point in their life where they don't get something, they have the ability to go up and ask for help.
I wish my co-partner was here. Charles Parisi is the founder and CEO of Cloudcast Media, and I moved over my shows from the Union Tribune over to Charles's, and Charles and Brandon work shoulder to shoulder on a variety of programs here. But Charles is such a character, and I'm looking forward to when you guys make a return appearance, and you will be making a return appearance whether you like it or not, and bringing in some people who have benefited from AVID. So we want you guys to be a regular on the show. There's so much you could talk about AVID every day for 365 and hit maybe 1/100th of what you guys do on this. But Charles doesn't like to call internships. Okay, they're called curiosity ships, almost to what you talked about, because he believes curiosity is the most important facet of it. It's what made Brandon stand out when we first were introduced to him. It's been a year now, about that, a year, because he was a young guy, sophomore, when we met him at UCSD, and he's finishing up his junior year now, ask a million questions. And you're 100% correct, Jamie. Now, me being a former journalist, I love to ask questions, maybe to everyone's detriment, for God's sake. But that's what gets you those answers and so forth. So I think you're right on this. Traci, when I would absolutely do a slow burn when people say, but AVID is expensive. Okay, let me get this straight. Your kid is going to be accepted to college, will graduate from college, will do very well after college. There's a price tag you put on that? Talk about how some of that can be a little, these are my words, not yours, can be a little foolish. It is about one of the greatest programs you can have.
Yeah. And actually, Drew, in relation to other programs,
yes,
it's actually pretty inexpensive to be a member. We have a lot of members here in San Diego. Obviously, we serve 23 school districts in San Diego County and 128 sites. With that, we've got 4 amazing national demonstration schools, which I want to shout out. The first is in San Diego Unified, FAR Middle School. They've been a demonstration school for about 16 years for us now, and they do an amazing job supporting all students.
And by the way, my longtime friend started that, Donna Rankin.
Yes,
and
Donna.
So Donna and I have known each other for a long time, and I won't say how long because she'll be irritated if I said it. And now Bob Saunders' daughter is the AVID coordinator, Stacy Saunders. Thank you for shouting out FARB. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Stacy has been amazing. She came from the elementary school. She was a little nervous.
And Miller, right?
Yeah, from Miller. And we just supported her along the way. And she is amazing. She's amazing. Also, O'Farrell Charter School does an amazing job with their AVID system there. Very strong. As well as Poway, Black Mountain Middle School is one of our all-star demonstration school sites. And San Ysidro High School at the border in Sweetwater. Amazing job with their AVID system there at that school. And, we do AVID showcases throughout the year. We'd love to invite all who would like to come see AVID at a high level because, as you said, Drew, they do amazing things for kids at these schools.
It's you've changed these guys' lives and the families, the pride of those parents, whose kids are now graduating from college, getting real high-paying jobs, and hopefully staying in San Diego, which is also important. Traci and Jamie, we come back from break. I want to talk to something that's the bread and butter of AVID, and that is summer institutes. And the training you folks do, and you do it real well. And we all know it's one thing to throw something out. Now here, learn it on yourself. No. You guys take training absolutely very seriously. It's the reason why you've been successful. So we'll talk about the summer institutes that are coming up. And we always spend some time at the second half of the interview. What can our listeners do to support your efforts? So think about that when we return with Traci Grove, Executive Director of AVID SoCal Regions 9 and 10, joined by her colleague, Jamie Yorba, Implementation Strategist for AVID. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. Been doing this for 19 years, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. from food insecurity to literacy to arts, everything in between. They've been great supporters of people living in San Diego County, and we will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We've been doing this for 19 years, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. We are with our good friends at AVID, stands for Advancement Via Individual Determination. There is no better system, and we'll use Traci's words, of getting kids, ready to not only graduate high school with high marks, but to get accepted to college and graduate from college. So honored to have Traci Grove, Executive Director of AVID, SoCal Regions 9 and 10, joined by Jamie Yorba, Implementation Strategist for AVID. So, Jamie, you taught AVID for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You must have started when you were an infant, okay? And I'm sure there were some child labor laws that were broken on this one over here. Traci, did you teach at AVID as well?
I taught at an AVID elementary site in LA County.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, well, what grade levels?
I taught 3rd through 6th grade.
Right, exactly. And I remember when, Mary Catherine started it, basically it was a high school program. And then when they shifted, said, these kids can benefit at elementary. How did it work in elementary?
Oh, elementary is amazing. So elementary is school-wide from the get-go. And what we do with our teachers and our training, and I know we'll get to that, our summer institutes coming up.
Right.
We train teachers in Wicker strategies, but it looks a little different in TK than it does in 3rd grade or that it does in 6th grade. And really it's about aligning the work. And aligning the work is one of our big components for our college and career framework of what educators do. And so in aligning the work in elementary, it's about first calibrating what you're doing per grade level and then articulating as students progress up in grade so that focus notes, for example, since we've already discussed that,
exactly.
Looks a little bit different in TK and then in 1st grade and then in 2nd grade. And so does those organizational tools and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I turn it over to Brandon, talk about summer institutes.
Ooh, summer institutes coming up. We've got 2 here in San Diego, and we use the downtown area. No longer, Drew, are we using Mission Valley, town and country, right?
Back in the day.
Yeah. So downtown, we take over downtown. June 16th through the 18th is San Diego 1. We have about 4,000 of our best friends coming. We love anyone else that would like to join. And July 30th through August 1st is San Diego 2. And we have about 26 professional learning options. And in the day, we used to call them a strand. And
that's right.
We now call them communities of practice.
Good. I'm learning some new stuff. I'm old school AVID. Okay, I'm glad I'm getting into the 21st century, for God's sake.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's terrific. Brandon?
I'm distracted from my question. What's different about AVID from then and now?
Well, I think there used to be strands that they used to have at the summer institutes when they train, how many thousands of teachers each year? Because you go all over the country now. So is there 8 summer institutes now?
There's more than that.
Oh, my goodness. So are you still doing Hawaii? Are you doing Hawaii?
No, we do a path train, what we call path training in
Right,
Hawaii, because
right.
we're sort of trained out on the islands at this
Right.
point.
So they train thousands of these teachers, so they can become an AVID teacher, advocates, even better at what's going with AVID. And, and it's one thing I think Traci or Jimmy might have mentioned, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Catherine stood to the values of AVID. And if you weren't going to teach a certain way or the philosophy was this way, you could not be an AVID teacher or an AVID school. And I think that's why it's been successful. We use AVID as an example of pick a topic, pick a whatever. This thing has been successful for 45 years because you've stayed true to the mission and not wavered. Yeah, you've added things and you bobbed and weaved and you've improved it and all that. But the bottom line here is the core, whether it's, Wicker or if it's focus notes, so I got to start using that term. And because of that, Brandon, folks like us in that I've been in both worlds, the education world and the business world, how come there aren't more programs like this? I said, because it's tough to sustain it. AVID is almost superintendent proof, board of member proof, where it's so successful that why would you get rid of it? And there's a lot to be said about it. When there's new superintendents that come in San Diego County, there's 43 school districts. Some people like to put their footprint on stuff. But with AVID, why would you even think about monkeying too much with it?
And it's just the absolute scale and how you guys impact all different spectrums of education instead of just the students, but the support that they provide to the students, which I would imagine compounds over time. The more and more students that go through the programs that get AVID teachers come out as students who are able to excel in college. As I definitely see a lot of students at UCSD that are a little bit quiet when it comes to class time. And I know that with the quizzical looks when I look around, that there are certainly a lot of questions. And with the name of individual advancement in there, tell me about one of the students that have gone to the program. Like, what's something that's just pulled at your heartstrings when you heard about?
Well, one comes to mind instantly. Mary Catherine Swanson probably met him herself, but he was an 8th grade standout back in the day at San Marcos Middle School. I still keep in contact with him, but he was the type of student who didn't grow up with his own room, slept on his parents' couch, helped sell newspapers to help his mom pay bills, but was very, very bright and was wanting to challenge himself, found his way into AVID in middle school, and since then got the Gates Millennium Scholarship to go to Yale on a full ride.
Wow.
Graduated, now works for JP Morgan in New York, and I hope he's listening. And
he will be listening.
Yeah, I'm going to let him know.
You're going to send this to him.
Yeah. And recently we've connected him with AVID teachers in New York, where he's out speaking to them. So again, giving back to the community. But AVID is about believing in those students and also building their leadership skills. And like you said, Drew, confidence. It's everything. Making kids feel confident so they can ask questions like you are seeing in your UCSD class that maybe the students can't do. That's something that they're building in AVID. And it's really hard to build that everywhere else, in other classes. It can be, but it's repeated in AVID class and emphasized. And it's that family atmosphere and that teacher that's advocating for it. And I think it's amazing that we have AVID Elementary now, working on student leadership and student advocacy, collective educator agency, getting the teachers to work together to align the work and also to advocate for kids' success and break down any barriers that they may encounter.
Well, and you folks, it's 45 years of doing this great stuff. And I've been fortunate to experience a lot of that. The fact that when you're an AVID teacher, you're so doggone proud of being an AVID teacher, right? Or an AVID administrator, or an AVID coordinator, or an AVID tutor, or fill in the blanks, right? In this, and you're unrelenting on this, and that's what's been so successful. And the confidence not only to get through the academic component. So now, when that student is now working for JP Morgan or working for doesn't make a difference where, what strata. They said, if I could do this in high school, in college, I can do this and fill in the blank. And you've really set a tone for them to do this. And Brad and I like to talk about this. He laughs at me because I use this term all the time. I call it the tentacles, because it's one person you've affected, but that person's brother, sister, aunt, uncle, parents, grandparents, probably pet, are all impacted by the success of what you've done with that one student. So it's not one student, it's the 10 people that he or she is touched with. We'll start with you on this, Jamie, and then go over to Traci. What can our listeners do to continue to support the amazing work of AVID?
I think, well, there's a lot that they can do. You know, AVID is for all kids. We do help a lot of first-gen kids, but it's really now open to all because we want every student to graduate with the skills they need to be successful. And that's the curriculum of AVID, is teaching those 5 core skills. No matter what they do, you have to be a good writer. 100%.
You have to communicate, you have to ask questions, you have to read everything right. Spot on.
Yeah, they have to know those things to be successful in whatever they choose to do. So I think that it's important to support AVID at our school sites and to celebrate our students because they are amazing and they do great things in the world. And so we want to continue that with branching out into the community, like even having us here today, Drew. We really appreciate it.
Now, we're just getting started on that. Good points. Traci, how about you? What can we do?
Yeah, I would tell the listeners, go to your local school, advocate for AVID. If there's one section with multiple grade levels, say, hey, why aren't there multiple sections? Why isn't there a section at every grade level to support our kids? And if your child isn't in AVID yet, go back to the school. Ask what you can do to support getting your student in AVID and really advocate for that support. Because as Mary Catherine used to say about rigor, right? Rigor without support it's a disservice. She said it a little differently, but that's the gist, right? We want to have that. You want that rigor with support. And it starts with building relational capacity. Yeah. And you want that for your student to be able to have that experience at school.
Absolutely. So if they want to learn more about AVID, get in touch with either one of you, is there a website they should go to?
You know what? To learn more, it'd be great to visit avid.org. That is our public site. You can sign up for a showcase on that site, Experience AVID virtually. You can see all about our Summer Institute. We're offering a 1-day district leadership to our school board members. I got to take a listen, Drew, to your podcast from last week, and I know that AVID was mentioned. So in Vista,
it was Cypri. Yeah, he's a great board. He is the perfect case for AVID. You know, had a family of never going to college, and now he's a board. Yeah, he did a great job, didn't he? Yeah.
It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So any other board members, it's complimentary on day 2. You can come to 1-day district leadership and join us, learn a little more about AVID half day, and then join our general session and celebration after.
Yeah, so we're just getting started with you. Be thinking about, what you want to do when you come on next, who you want to bring in next. Want to bring in an AVID teacher, want to bring in an AVID administrator, want to bring in an AVID student. We plan on showcasing you folks a minimum of once a quarter. Okay. And so think about from a strategy standpoint, what's the way you want to do that? And then we're going to have you on, and can't shout out you enough.
We really appreciate you, Drew, and this opportunity. And we will definitely bring all of those people back at different points next year.
Well, consider it done. Traci Grove, Executive Director for AVID SoCal Regions 9 and 10, Jamie Yorba, Implementation Strategist. On behalf of the Classroom of the Future Foundation, thank you so much for letting us showcase your students every year at our annual Innovation Education Awards. You guys were stars on stage last week. We're looking forward to having you come back at the 23rd annual event, and then certainly more interviews on our Spotlight show. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 19th year, brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.